To stay committed at something, you've got to have the result of why you want that thing. Have you said that you're going to do something, but you still haven't done it yet? And this problem keeps happening over and over again. And if you can do this, all these little things, they add up to the big thing, and that's where the results are. I'll take the big goal and break it down into smaller goals. You want to make $1 million, take $1 million and divide that over 12 months, which is 83,000 plus per month. And the reason why it's so hard for people to stay committed is because they don't know whatever I'm doing, is it getting me closer, is it getting me further away from the goal. So that's why it's so important to be able to find out. There's going to be things that you do and it's not going to go well for the first time. I can tell you that. But that doesn't mean that don't beat yourself up for that. It just means that that way didn't work. I've done things that, why did that happen? I see what I did there. You just find other people who already got something going and then you coach them into that person and bang. If you want to create success, you got to make sure that you are always staying committed. So I want to show you 10 of the ways that I use to stay committed. Even when you veer off track, you want to put yourself back on track. And if you can do this, all these little things, they add up to the big thing, and that's where the results are. So let's go to the first one. The first thing is, whenever you want to do something, we always have this mental block of, oh my God, it's so much, it's so overwhelming. So what you want to do is you want to break down the big thing into small little things. So let's say, for example, you want to lose 2 stone, 5 stone, whatever you want to lose. You want to say, okay, if every single week I'm able to lose 10 pounds, 3 pounds, 5 pounds, like it all adds up. So what we do is we reverse engineer the things that we want to do. So for me, I'll take the big goal and break it down into smaller goals. You want to make $1 million, take $1 million and divide that over 12 months, which is 83,000 plus per month. So when you break that down as well, so it starts to compound. So every time I want to do something, look at the big goals, break it down. Number 2 is when you set the plan, you've also got to have these milestones. Here's the problem with trying to do things. And the reason why it's so hard for people to stay committed is because they don't know whatever I'm doing, is it getting me closer, is it getting me further away from the goal. So that's why it's so important to be able to find out what the milestones are. For example, when I'm in my first million in real estate, okay, what am I going to do next? So I'm going to take this holiday. I'm not going to do any work. So you have this milestone. When you make your first 100,000, okay, go out and celebrate. But you've got to have these little different milestones, because when you have the milestones, you know that you've hit that target instead of just having one long goal with not many milestones. And then you can't do it, because when you have the milestones, you can actually prioritize the things you want to do. For example, I'm still in my gym wear. So I got to get to the airport and I got to do it the second leg of the tour. What's my priority? My priority is my health. And of course, creating a video like this, get down, get packed, work out, have a breakfast meeting, come up here, create this video, and then straight after this, jump in the car, go straight to the airport, and then land in the new destination. So this is why I want you to start thinking about how you're doing things. You create the plan, but you start off with prioritizing it, because when you set the milestones and you set deadlines for them, and that's the problem why people don't stay committed, because the goalpost keeps moving. So what you want to do is make sure that you make it really tight. Here is the milestone, here is the deadline. And what happens is you start to put pressure on yourself, and that way you get to achieve a lot more. The third thing is you want to start keeping organized, using tools, using things to actually manage your time. In fact, AI, there's lots of AI softwares where you can literally take your calendar and it will organize it into things that you do. So for example, if you want to stay organized, try and keep the tasks. For example, emails is one thing, meetings is one thing. Maybe you've got something else, like try and time block it so you spend a lot of time doing the certain things, because then you don't have to think about what to do. And when you stay focused on it, you now can be more productive and get that job done faster. Before is you got to make sure that you remind yourself why you even want to do that in the first place. To stay committed at something, you've got to have the result of why you want that thing. So I say to a lot of people all the time, what you're doing right now and you lose motivation in it is because you've forgotten why you want to do it in the first place. I know so many people that start a business and they go, why am I even doing this? Okay, think back to why you started. Oh, well, John, I don't want a job. I want to work when I want to work on my own terms. So you actually should really have a list of all the things that you want to do. So for me, the reason why I get to fly around the world, sometimes I think, oh, why am I flying around this world? Because it's all about building relationships. You build relationships, you work with people, and you get much more leverage. Instead of spending 15 years working with one company, if you imagine if you have 5 partners and you just mentor and coach them, you consult them and you're advising them and you get an equity. You know, I keep reminding myself, okay, I got to fly here, but actually it's less work than actually having to create a company from scratch. You just find other people who already got something going and then you coach them into that person and bang. So always remind yourself why you want to do these things. And also, as I said, reward yourself. Have what we call the little wins. I see so many people, they are doing things, but they're not really paying attention to what wins that they've got. Okay, this month, you need to celebrate. What wins did you have? And even on your day, like when you wake up, okay, what was your win today? And actually what you should do, so a friend of mine said you should write down these wins and put them into a jar. And then when you wake up in the New Year's, you know, you take out the jar and all these things. So you want to write down your wins. So create a win list. When you create a win list, focused, it reminds you, and it keeps you motivated. Number 5 is start to develop good habits. Now, it's easier said than done. So how do you create the habit? Habit comes from routine. So one thing that I've noticed that when I'm at home, I'm in good shape, right? I eat clean and I'm typically have more energy. But when I travel a lot, because my time zones gets messed up, my time gets flipped from one end of the world to the other end of the world, I start thinking to myself, it's much harder to stay committed because the routine's out of whack. So what you want to have a main routine, then you want to have a mini routine. So the mini routine might be, okay, so every morning, doesn't matter where I'm staying, every morning I have to go out for at least a 30-minute workout, minimum. So that now becomes your home routine and my travel routine. Also, when I'm out, because when I'm doing a lot of meetings, I'm eating a lot of different restaurants. Problem with that is when you're eating all these different restaurants, there's so much nice food. So, okay, cut out all the carbs and don't have any dessert, just have the main. And what I found is that for me has allowed me to keep my energy, stay in shape, and also be able to have that mental awareness of the things that I want to do because I've developed that routine. And again, the habit. So it's what the habit of what you're not doing is what not is getting to the result that you want. So we've got to start focusing on that. Number 6, stay accountable. Easiest way to do this is tell friends and family what you want to do. So that's the first thing, because sometimes when you tell people publicly what you do, it's kind of like you feel that pressure to do it. It's like, oh, if I don't do it, then I look bad. That's number 1. Number 2 is make sure that you join some kind of, have a mentor, right? So a mentor to guide you through the process. So actually, a lot of people ask me, John, can you be my mentor? Well, I do tend to mentor people, from different stages of the business. And if any of you would love to learn that, then if you click the link below this, I've got some information there for those of you who would like to check out the mentoring, or you can just go to johnlee.com and you can check out my website there. I've got some information on there. The third thing you want to do as well when it comes to staying accountable is having some kind of support group. That's one of the reasons why I fly around the world, because we have these masterminds where we get to meet our clients, we get to meet our students, we get to meet our mentees, and it's just really good to be able to see what they're working on and how can I support. So for example, when I was here, one of my students, the first 90 days of me teaching this stuff, he made 90,000. And then the year after that, he made $1 million. And he just told me that, hey, John, I'm getting into the film industry now. We're using all this marketing stuff. And now he's on track to hit 2 million. I love having these breakfast meetings and these meetings because why? It shows you that what you're putting out there, your work is making an impact. It's amazing. And also a part of staying accountable is that you've got to review every day. Okay, is what I'm doing, like review the progress. Are you getting any progress doing this? Because if what you're doing, you're not getting any progress at all, and then you're going to ask yourself, what I'm doing today, what percentage of progress am I getting? Am I getting a 1% progress? Am I getting 50% progress? This is why sometimes you shouldn't really focus on tasks. You should focus on the outcome. Because I can do one thing and it can complete all 10 tasks, for example. 7, manage your time wisely. So a lot of the times when I'm setting goals, I want to review and have dedicated time for that. So for example, let's say, again, anytime flying to a location, so I was like, oh, John, I see that you're in my town, I see you're in my city, would you like to meet up? And it's like, I feel bad saying no, but you've got to start staying focused and putting time aside for the things that you want to do. Problem is, the reason why you're not staying committed is because you're not spending enough time incorporating the thing that you want to do, right? So doesn't it make sense that we actually start doing this stuff where we are now putting that time aside and we get that done, and then we reward ourselves with, okay, my friend wants to meet, let's go out, let's go and have a meal. But don't do that until you've done the thing that you need to do, because that one thing is like a building block to the next step over and over and over and over again. Number 8, stay positive and persistent, even when there's setbacks. Look, there's going to be things that you do and it's not going to go well for the first time. I can tell you that. But that doesn't mean that don't beat yourself up for that. It just means that that way didn't work. I've done things that, why did that happen? Oh, I see what I did there. You see? So you want to make sure that you are always progressing forward. Even if you go a few steps back, you're moving a little bit forward. So I always say to people that if you have that mental attitude, you're staying positive, like, okay, that happened. Okay, it was my fault. I take ownership for that. Then keep moving forward and actually learn from the failure. So I did that, it didn't work. I now know what not to do. Or I can do it, but I tweak it a little bit. So these things make a big difference, especially for those of you, if you're getting into a position where you feel like you're not moving forward, but actually you are, because you're learning from the failures. Number 9, this is really, really important. Take care of yourself. The reason why you're not staying committed is because your brain is overwhelmed. Your brain is stressed, you have anxiety, you're fearful, right? I gotta tell you that there's a lot of things that I've done that if I do one thing, I don't feel like doing it. If I do another thing, I feel like doing it, but it's knowing where that switches. So for me, 3 biggest things: get enough sleep, at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I used to say there's plenty of time to sleep when you're dead. That's the wrong advice. That's when I was in my early 30s and I was just like, keep grinding, keep hustling. No, because you have the deeper sleep that you have, you gotta have your REM sleep, you gotta have your deep sleep. Then you can think clearly. And when you sleep and you eat well, your eating directly impacts how you think. Like if you got kids and you give them sugar, you see how different they turn compared to when they're eating clean. So that stuff really affects, like some people say, John, I've got a bit of insomnia, I struggle to sleep. It's because you're eating too close when you're sleeping and you're eating the wrong foods, like too much carbs, too much sugar, bang. And also exercise regularly. So you heard me talking about this. Exercise makes such a, like, even if it's just half an hour, it doesn't have to be an hour, it doesn't have to be 2 hours. Even if it's just half an hour, you just go down, like for me, I'm like, oh, do I really want to go to the gym? And in my mind, it's like, it's only half an hour. So by the time I finish 10 minutes on the treadmill warm up, and I do maybe 15 minutes of heavy lifting, and I do like compound sets, right? So you get the most out of the workout. It's faster, it's quicker, and then you do sets to failure. That for me, you can be really efficient with that as well. Managing stress through relaxation. So breath work, super important. So it's called the 5-5-5. So 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, hold 5 seconds. That's one of many techniques that you can use. So when you interrupt your breath pattern of breathing, it changes your neurology and how you think. So that's really important. By the way, if you know someone who's struggling to stay committed, do me a favor, share this video with them, because I really want them to unleash and unlock their potential, right? So many of you have so much potential, but if I'm honest with you, and if you're honest with yourself, you're not exerting 100% of what your potential is. You're probably exerting maybe 50%, 60%, right? We're not pushing to 100%. Number 10 is you gotta stay flexible. When you do something, don't stay rigid. Like, know that you might have spent a month planning something, but you get a new piece of information that says, actually, that's not right, and then you just change it. You have to be willing to let go. And I think that's why a lot of people, they don't, because they stay too in the mindset of being fixed. So you need to adapt to changes, and you need to be willing to pivot. If you stay in business, normally a lot of business models, cycles last for 10 years, and then it flips again in another 10 years. So you have to keep adapting to what the new business models are, and the new way of marketing, new way of sales, new way of entrepreneurship. I mean, I fly all around the world. If you love to meet me in person, if you love to join me for a mastermind, go check out johnlee.com. If you go to the event section, or if you click the link below this, you'll be able to see some information on that. And do me a favor, if you love this content, like this content, share this content with somebody, and leave a comment below with one of your biggest aha moments from this session. And also, I'm going to link a video here so you can check that out to really help you gain more momentum.